We're up.
Okay.
Jockeys ready,
Yeah.
starters ready. James
Let's
Heddo,
go.
welcome to Business Insider.
Thanks, Mark.
And we welcome you to our salubrious surrounds today, which is Fortunity. Much better than ours.
Yeah.
But anyway, James Heddo, 3 years in the CEO's role at Gosford Race.
That's right. Gosford Race Club.
Race Club, that's the name of the game. Let's start with the background. You don't work for anyone else but racing, it looks like, when you...
Yeah, look, Mark, I've been very fortunate. I've had a great career in the industry. I started in 1988 at the Sydney Turf Club, and I had 12 years there in the racing office, and learned a lot. They were the premier club at Rose Hill as far as I was concerned, and an opportunity came out of the blue to manage a race club as chief executive of Townsville Turf Club. So it was a big move for the family in 2000, but we thought it was an opportunity, and I went there and had 5 years there. And
did very well.
Yeah, look, it was my first chance at actually being the boss, you know, and learn a lot, but it really set me up and really just confirmed what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and that was to work my way up and you know, be involved in racing. So after 5 years in Townsville, a bit out of the blue, I got an offer to go to Bendigo as the CEO of Bendigo Jockey Club, and that was a big move, but it was a step up in my career. Bendigo is a very well-respected club in Victoria, so it was a chance to move a little bit closer to home as well. I always hoped that I would end up back in Sydney, back home. So we had 3 years in Bendigo, but then when the job in Gosford came up, it was my chance to come home, and September 2008 I started as CEO at Gosford, and it's been a great 3 years, and hopefully I can have a long career at Gosford.
And your arrival coincided pretty much with a report being handed down on what the state government thought we should do with our two race tracks.
Yeah, look, it's always been something I've been aware of all through my career. I grew up in Barara, so Gosford's pretty well
Actually, I should
home.
welcome my first Asquith Boys High School co-student.
I went to Asquith Boys, my whole schooling.
Anyway, I shouldn't interrupt.
Wideview School at Barara, and go further back, and then Asquith Boys. But so Gosford Wyong, because of their close proximity on a map, there's always been a discussion: do we need the two? Should they amalgamate? Racing New South Wales and with the state government did a report on what the benefits may be for amalgamation. Ernst & Young did that report for them, and there was no real benefit just amalgamating the administration of both clubs if we maintain the two venues. But one thing that came out of the report was that could you sell both Gosford and Wyong, pool the money together and build a fantastic entertainment precinct that may be open 24/7 and offer horse racing, harness racing, greyhound racing, restaurants, dining, night racing, all those sorts of things. So in theory, would be a great facility. Unfortunately, both Gosford and Wyong are built on flood zones, floodplains, and we got some engineering reports done, or Racing New South Wales did, and they found that the actual value of the land really wasn't conducive to a lucrative sale that would allow this big project to go ahead. And I know at Gosford the flood mitigation works were estimated at $10 million, so it's really not a sellable venue, albeit it's in a lovely location on the gateway into Gosford. So that probably issues died down a little bit. But look, there's always discussion on do we need the two race courses, Gosford and Wyong. We'd always say they're two different zones, two different local councils. I suppose it's like, do we need two local councils? And that discussion never goes away either. So we think...
We're working on that as well.
Yes, you know, we think they're two different communities and demographics as well. So
they are extraordinary locations though. They will coexist?
I think they will. The other thing is that both clubs are very successful in their own rights, and Gosford itself, and I've inherited this, is probably the richest race club in New South Wales, you know, and that's through...
What do you mean richest? I don't...
How do you... Cash holdings and land assets. Our actual asset base is up around the $20 million mark, so, and that's through astute investment over the years by previous boards and management. So we're really in a position where we don't need to amalgamate. We're as strong as we can possibly be. So, you know, as a club, we don't really see any benefit, but we're not going to keep our head in the sand. And if there's an opportunity that can strengthen our club, we'd have a serious look at it.
Well, let's talk about the strategies that you're implementing. You appear, I was going to say a punter, but I'm actually not a punter. I'm just Joe Average. I'm hearing what you're doing over the airways a bit more and through the newspapers. What sort of strategies do you have in place? What would you like to change in the next 12 months?
Sure. Look, Gosford's races 22 times a year, and predominantly Thursday afternoon racing has put us in the position we've got in. But over the last 5 years or so, people seem to have become more time poor, and you can't knock off Thursday afternoon and head out to the races. You can watch them on the internet, you can bet on your phone, you can do everything now without coming to the course. So what we've tried to do is reposition as many meetings as we can into more friendly time zones where people are more available to attend. So whether that be a Saturday or a Sunday, or we've had a very successful twilight season through the summer where we ran 5 twilight meetings, starting a bit later and finishing at 7 o'clock. And it just allows people more of an opportunity to come to the races as a social outlet rather than always running on a Thursday afternoon where they just can't get there. Next season we've got 4 Sundays, 2 Saturdays, probably 2-3 Friday twilight meetings. So we're opening up the opportunity for people to head to the races, and that helps us drive on-course revenue through gate takings, bar sales.
And is it about corporate support and corporate engagement as well? Are you seeing more of that happen?
We are. It's definitely important to the club that we do attract corporate investment into our facility. We have some very successful events. Westpac Helicopters run a very successful charity luncheon and get 300 people there once a year. So those sorts of events, we've linked with Danica Clark Foundation, and they again have a similar luncheon with 200-300 people there. So those sorts of events, again, the Danica Clark's on a Sunday where people are more able to head out to the races. So it's important we link with the local community and re-establish our links with people who can come out rather than just not being able to come on a Thursday afternoon. So I think we've had a very successful summer with that strategy. New Year's Eve we had over 8,000 people there, which was probably the biggest meeting we've ever had at Gosford. And that shows us we're heading in the right direction and people will attend the races. It's just a matter of putting them on at a time when they're available to attend.
And you do have a bit of a sports precinct there with the stadium.
For sure.
And linking with other events as well.
Well, we'd love to see the waterfront project go ahead, the landing. We'd love to see that go ahead. I can't understand how anyone would be against that, but that's my personal opinion. And that would open up that whole precinct with Adcock Park, the racecourse, Blue Tongue Stadium, the waterfront precinct there. I think it just puts Gosford on the map. Our races now are beamed internationally through New Zealand, through Asia, through London, through France. It opens up all sorts of opportunities for the Central Coast where people are watching our racing. They're aligning Gosford with the Central Coast with this great entertainment precinct there. The Mariners, it's a national competition. I think there's great opportunities for Gosford, but we've got to look outside the square and look as a whole group of people rather than everyone being insular and what they personally want to see happen. So, we see great opportunities not only for the race club but for the whole Central Coast community with development going on in that area.
Where are, from a strategic point of view for your business, where are the opportunities for this year?
Look, like I've said, we've repositioned our meetings 4 Sundays and a couple of Saturdays. Our big opportunity is to secure Friday night racing at Gosford. We've gone down the path and done some master planning. We're working with Racing New South Wales, who are the governing body. We know there's about, all up, if we did the lights and the grandstand, it may be a $10 to $12 million project. But they've indicated that they may support that and provide funding for that. I think if we were able to provide Friday night racing in modern facilities at Gosford Racecourse, starting at 7 p.m, finishing at about 10 p.m. on a Friday night, beaming those races into prime time into Hong Kong and Singapore, I think it opens up a huge opportunity for the Central Coast. All of a sudden we become a very important entertainment facility on the Central Coast. We will attract people from all over New South Wales from Sydney who'll come up for the races and stay the night. The hotels will benefit, the restaurants will benefit. They might stay the weekend and explore the Central Coast. So that's really our, if we had a wish list, that's at the top of our list to secure Friday night racing at Gosford Racecourse.
Do you have and I love the word cluster, but industry clusters, Central Coast Manufacturing Connect is a cluster of like-minded people. Do you have a racecourse cluster because you need the support of tourism, and you can get there, and you've mentioned earlier that the relationship's strong there with Ollie and Chris and the team. Do you talk direct to and generate interest with those partners, the accommodation partners, the transport partners?
Yeah, we've met with Central Coast Tourism and certainly Oliver Philpott and Chris King very keen and very supportive. They see the great opportunities that Friday night racing would offer. So they've been very supportive there, and they've indicated they're willing to assist us in any way possible. The big thing though is that Racing New South Wales are the government appointed governing body, and they make the decisions. So we've lobbied Racing New South Wales. In the race clubs there's a provincial association. Gosford, Wyong, Hawkesbury, Kembla and Newcastle meet every quarter, the 5 clubs, and we discuss these sorts of issues. The other 4 clubs support us in our endeavour for Friday night racing. No other club wants it. So it's a matter of, we seem to have all the support. It's just the money.
Show me the money.
Just the money, we need 10, 12 million to do it.
Yeah. And we might go to our what would you change segment. We talked about the soapbox or the magic wand. I guess, James, is there something that you would like to change in the business area to help your business?
I think horse racing itself is changing, and I think it's no longer should be perceived as gambling, going out and betting on a horse. That's a part of it, but it's becoming a smaller part of it. It's more an opportunity to dress up. Men and women enjoy it just as much. Dress up, sip champagne, have a fine dining meal. It's a little bit like we're trying to sell an illusion, and it's a bit out of the everyday, ordinary 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But then you can really go and experience something that's out of the ordinary, rub shoulders with celebrities or special guests, VIP guests, that sort of thing. And I think it's that perception in some quarters that racing is a gambling industry. Yes, we rely on the gambling dollar, but it's a lot more of a social industry than, say, sitting on a poker machine pressing a button. We're not the same sort of gambling. It's more a social interaction, networking opportunity. So that would be one thing, if I could just continue to change that perception of what horse racing can offer.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you for your time.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks, Mark.